Beyond Zero Emissions, in partnership with Strategy, Policy and Research, we're very pleased to partner with GNet and the Committee for Ballarat to support you to develop your roadmap to zero, and Alan Peers is also on supporting our team with peer review. So we've heard the context this morning from the Minister and Professor Ross Garneau, where we are seeing some really great leadership from government as we move to zero, and I think Victoria is a really great example. I also find it really exciting that investors are also really picking up speed, looking for more opportunities to invest in low carbon, and businesses as well. So there's over 600 major global corporations now that have committed to a science-based target initiative to future-proof their business. So there's just so much leadership around solutions coming from all of the players that need to come together. And it is an opportunity for us. It's also challenging to develop a roadmap to zero, so it's important that we start the planning, the conversation and the work today so that the Grampians region can get the maximum benefit out of transitioning for your economy and also for strengthening your community. So today is the start of a really important conversation with you about what future you would like to see for the Grampians region and what you think are the important opportunities as you transition to zero. And we really need your knowledge, your expertise and your insights to help create the best possible roadmap for you. And our role is to support your conversation by understanding where emissions are coming from at the moment and what are some of the potential pathways and opportunities to decarbonise. Where we're at with the project today, I'll share just a bird's eye view with you on that draft interim report. We'll then start a really important conversation around the opportunities, and this is all leading to producing a final roadmap for you. So we've heard before just that your region, it just generates an abundance of renewable energy. You have a strong regional economy, skilled people and really great leadership, and they're all the essential ingredients you need for the Grampians region to become an Australian leader in the zero carbon economy. And the renewable energy that comes out of the region was going to play both a critical state but also national role as we transition. But also for the other sectors that produce emissions like commercial buildings, manufacturing, land use and ag, we all have, there are proven and commercialised technologies that are available today that can be used and put together to also decarbonise other sectors. It's always really important to start to understand what the numbers are doing today so we can make the best possible decisions. So we developed a reference scenario to help us understand what and where emissions are likely to be coming from in 2050 if we assume business as usual. So our definition of business as usual was that we'll have the existing policies will remain. We won't have any new policies or programs, and what we're seeing with technology and market development will continue as they are. So overall, emissions for the region will fall by over 20% between now and 2050 under that business as usual scenario. And, that's because of all of the leadership that's, already occurred across business and government to really create a renewables hub in the Grampians region. But that as emissions are projected to fall very low levels under business as usual in the early years, but because emissions from the electricity sector, the stationary energy sector, will decrease, another sector under business as usual will increase. So you can see with land use and agriculture, they're projected to rise under business as usual. And about a month ago, there was a new report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change on Land Use and Agriculture. So globally, the next phase for us is to work on this really vital and important sector. But as Professor Ross Garneau showed us, the good news is there are many things we can do to get to net zero. And so this is an opportunity for the Grampians region to get to zero and even to get beyond net zero with the opportunities in land use and agriculture. We also developed 2 other scenarios. One we called local action, which is where initiatives taken at the local and regional level are put in place to decrease emissions. And we developed something we're calling a collaborative action model, which is a combination of regional initiatives that you would take, coupled with the support from both state and federal government giving you policy support. So we found that it is feasible to reach net zero emissions by 2043-44 with collaborative action, and pursuing action at the local level, we've projected we'll see emissions reducing by 77% by 2050. And so the caveat I would add though around this is that, as we heard before, we're seeing amazing things in developments and prices and learning curve that we're all, people are stunned by. And another really great example is lithium battery, where the cost of a lithium battery has plummeted by 70% since 2010. So things have changed much more quickly than what we anticipated. So we just need to keep that in our minds. And I'd like to just go a little bit deeper with the collaborative action model to highlight the potential of the land use and agriculture sector, which is the light blue bar. This sector has the potential to really be the hero of the roadmap and take the region well beyond net zero. At Beyond Zero Emissions, the work we do is often very ambitious, and we have shown how you can very rapidly get to zero emissions using technology that's already proven and commercialised. So I guess our question we'd like to open up today with you is what if we were to be much more ambitious and seek to get to zero by 2030? We're really keen to see what your thoughts are around that today. So just very touching on, what the opportunities are, just to help set the scene and to stimulate our conversation today. Already the wind that's generated in this region is really driving rapid decarbonisation across Victoria, and not only for Victoria, you're also helping to decarbonise the Australian Capital Territory, inner city Melbourne, and large corporations like Telstra. We know it's a really strategic region nationally, so the opportunity is to keep building on that, but also become a leader in batteries and firming technologies such as lithium-ion batteries or pumped hydro, and also become a leader. So you might want to start to facilitate and incentivise, the growth of those technologies in your region. Another big opportunity with your building stock, and there are technologies available that can, really improve the efficiencies of your buildings, reducing emissions, and technologies like insulation, sealing up buildings. Our buildings are often very leaky in Australia, high efficiency heating and cooling, and some of these initiatives are quite cost effective to do. So policies and programs that can incentivise and support the retrofit of our building stock can be, a really opportunity to reduce emissions, as well as making where we live and work comfortable places for us. The next step for buildings that the region might like to look at is fuel switching our buildings to be fully electric powered by renewables, so that buildings are producing more energy than they're consuming. And we are seeing a growing move to electrifying buildings. I think one example that's really exciting, Mirvac is developing the house with no bills. So we're starting to see a lot of major, developers really embracing this idea. So potentially, big opportunities for the region. Manufacturing, another really vital sector, and as we know, plays a really unique role within the economy at boosting productivity, quality job growth, innovation. So we've taken a really detailed look recently at manufacturing, and we've found that there are many technologies available to decarbonise manufacturing and boost its productivity in the process. So there are technologies like microwaves and industrial heat pumps and induction that have been around for a long time, but we can use them differently on the factory floor. And we found that not only can you cut emissions, but these technologies can speed up the production for manufacturers. They can double energy efficiency. They're scalable, they're modular, and very well adapted to Industry 4.0. So there's a really big opportunity for the region to look at getting ready to use these technologies. And one potential pathway might be for a large manufacturer to take a leading role, to become a case study and install these technologies on the factory floor, and then supported by government and knowledge share across the region, so that we're getting ready to take advantage of different technologies to be used to provide heat processes. Electric vehicles is another area very similar to solar panels, and just really the technology is really improving and the cost is really plummeting. So a lot of manufacturers see a tipping point in about 5 years for electric vehicles. So the range is becoming longer and the price is plummeting. So looking for opportunities to support electric vehicle rollout for the region. Heavy vehicles is harder, but there's an opportunity to come together and collaborate to look at how you can support zero emissions heavy vehicle technology. And C Electric is a Victorian company, has been working with heavy vehicles, and they install an electric drivetrain. And you all might probably aware of C Electric, but I find that really exciting about the possibility for even being part of that value chain in manufacturing those vehicles. And of course, vehicle to grid technology is also something that can be explored with vehicles. How can they play a role to become a battery for the grid? We heard some of the exciting examples from Professor Roscoe with land use and ag. But there are many opportunities to decarbonise the sector, but they also provide other benefits for us, like boosting soil productivity and becoming resilient from the impacts of climate change. So there's a lot of opportunities in land use for your region. Next steps is to have the workshops and the conversation today. We will work with GNET and the Committee for Melbourne, and we'll share the interim draft with you. And then we're really looking forward to having that conversation and pulling together your ideas and aspirations into a final roadmap for the region. Please don't hesitate to contact myself or Heidi Lee, our project manager, and all of the research that we've produced across all the sectors in the past. You can find it on our website if you're looking for further inspiration. So thank you so much, and we'll keep talking today.